This course is rocking me at a personal level. I've been preaching and proclaiming Joel for 15 to 20 years, so it's always been deep to me, but honestly, I've needed a recalibration around it in this season. And so it's redialing up a lot of the things that I really gave myself to, and it's just stirring me up in a fresh way. I want to look at God's response to the corporate prayer and fasting. And again, when I'm talking about this, I'm talking to many groups. I'm talking to one. I'm going to be highlighting Joel speaking to his generation. I'm going to be speaking to you and me in the current context of where we're at. And I'm also going to be talking about Israel and the church at the end of the age and what God's going to do in the generation of his coming. I believe that we are going to see God quickly respond to corporate prayer and fasting. It's going to escalate the intensity and the drama, but we're also going to see pockets of amazing mercy and pockets of God's glory and his kindness. And I want you to know that God's going to break in for you. And I want to specifically, the main verse I want to highlight in this one will be 25, but I just want to read these verses. I get so encouraged by just reading the word. Look at verse 18. This is awesome. Right after the corporate prayer and fasting, it says, "Then the Lord will be zealous for his land." I want you to know that God is zealous for the land of Israel. It's what he promised Abraham. He says, "I'm going to give you a land. I'm going to make you a great nation. And in you, all the nations of the earth will be blessed." That God has made covenant with them around this land. God is into land, and inheritance is connected to land. And he is speaking specifically, the land that was ravaged by locusts, Israel, is going to be restored in great favor, in new wine and glory. This will ultimately come about when the Lord returns and Israel leads the nations into the millennium. Let's look at this. It says the Lord will answer. It says that the Lord will be zealous for his land. He will pity his people. The Lord will answer and say to his people, "Behold, I send you grain, new wine, and oil, and you will be satisfied by them. I will no longer make you a reproach among the nations." For thousands of years, Israel has been a reproach. There's been much reproach, back and forth, back and forth. But I'm here to tell you, at the coming of the Lord, Israel will no longer be a reproach among the nations. She's not going to achieve this in her own might or her own ability or connecting with the right nation and getting enough defense. That the blessing that she's looking for will be found with her covenant with Yeshua, Jesus. That when she comes into alignment with him, the blessing of covenant is going to flow over her, and she will no longer be a reproach among the nations. He says, "I will remove from you far the northern army. In the near, it's Babylon. In the far, it's going to be that Antichrist army as Jesus deals with this army." He says, "I will drive him away into a barren and desolate land with his face towards the eastern sea and his back towards the western sea." It says his stench will come up. His foul odor will rise because he has done monstrous things. Fear not, O land. Be glad and rejoice, for the Lord has done marvelous things. Do not be afraid, you beast of the earth, for the open pastures are springing up. The tree bears its fruit. The fig tree and the vine yield their strength. Be glad then, you children of Zion, and rejoice in the Lord your God. He has given you the former rain faithfully, and he will cause the rain to come down for you, the former rain and the latter rain in the first month. The threshing floors shall be full of wheat. The vat shall overflow with new wine and oil. So here's the phrase, "I will restore to you the years that the swarming locust has eaten, crawling, consuming, chewing locust." Again, I want you to know this is what Jesus is going to do for the nation of Israel when he returns. He is going to restore her like the Garden of Eden, all of the vines, the land, the trees, the wine, the glory, and all the promises will be fulfilled in that day. It is coming, I tell you by the word of the Lord. But I even want to speak to you. I want you to understand something. God is the God that restores years. Okay, I want to just highlight that reality. Some of you have gone through really difficult years in your life. Maybe a painful marriage or children that went far from the Lord, or finances that just fell apart, or relational difficulty or circumstances or a sickness or oppression. Something came in your life and you lost years and you felt like, God, I can never make up those years. I want you to know this is the thing about God. In eternity, He can redeem and restore years. When God touches down on your life, He can do things more in 1 month than what you did in 1 year. That God can restore years that was stolen by the enemy. Where the swarming, the chewing, the consuming, and the crawling stole from your life, I want you to know, friend, God restores years. Take hope and take faith in that. We speak it to you individually. I receive it. I believe I'm in a season of Joel 2:25 where He's doing it in my life where years were lost. And I believe He's doing it. I believe He's doing it for you. I believe He's going to do it for the nation that cries out to the Lord. He's going to restore years. And we know ultimately He's going to do it for Israel when she puts her faith in Jesus. Have faith in this reality. It says this, that you will eat in plenty and praise the name of the Lord your God, who has dealt wondrously. I love that phrase. And my people shall never be put to shame. Then you shall know that I'm in the midst of Israel. I am the Lord your God, and there is no other. My people shall never be put to shame. We're going to begin from this moment in our study in the book of Joel, and we're going to begin to now move into that ultimate end time day of the Lord. And there's coming, there's been a history of shame for the nation of Israel and for the Jewish people. There has been seasons of great shame and then seasons of redemption. We've seen seasons of great difficulty and then seasons of great joy. But there is coming an hour of intense shaking, tribulation, difficulty, and shame that will result in the greatest joy, blessing, and honor that the earth has ever seen. Israel, I want you to take heart, and I want you to know your Redeemer is coming, and that you are going to shine, and the glory of God on you is going to populate the whole earth, and is going to bring life to a dead planet and to a dead globe, and we're going to see the glory of God fill the whole earth. I look forward to running with you on this journey.